Hey guys, welcome to the HUSTLR podcast. Thanks for listening, thanks for tuning in. And today I have a super talented lady hustler, and her name is Zoe. And she is a tech community builder. She's also a Python programmer, a digital marketer, and she also produces music and DJs on the side. How awesome is that, right? So say hello, Zoe.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, so Zoe, thanks for coming on to the show. Thanks for agreeing. I mean, we met on Facebook through a mutual friend, I believe.
Yeah.
And I've seen her work being featured on Product Hunt and SoundCloud and Beatport, which is like amazing because I'm a dance music fan myself, and she produces that kind of music, so I thought that she would be an awesome addition to the podcast. Okay, so Zoe, why don't you share with our audience, like, how did you first get started on your journey?
Okay, that's cool. And thanks for having me, for putting together this show.
No problem.
I mean, we met a couple of days before on internet through a video call, and today really great to see you in person. And then I thought
Likewise.
I think maybe we can share a bit about my background, an intro about myself. So my name is Zoe, I'm from Kuala Lumpur. So currently I'm running product and community for tech startups as an independent consultant, and also on the side I build products through tech and design to solve real human problems, and also working on a platform for my startup site, for the product building site. I spent my previous 2.5 years working as a digital marketer. Doing selling services to like SMEs and business owners, and then I spent my 2.5 years. And then previously I spent 4 years studying in university, majoring in international business and marketing. So as you can see, my background has always been in marketing, not the technology side. So how I got started in digital marketing, it's because I came across this boot camp, which is organized by Magic, Malaysian Global Innovation Center. So I went to a bootcamp for 2 months, and then I learned everything about digital marketing, growth hacking, Facebook ads, WordPress, SEOs, Google Analytics, data analytics, and how do you do a landing page and copywriting, all that. So then after finishing a bootcamp, two months, and I had this idea. I thought, why not just sell what I know, to business and services. So then I started my own so-called digital marketing business. I bought own domain. I think I spent a couple of hundreds on the domain hosting. Then I set up my first WordPress site. Yeah, then that's how I got started.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So how long was that boot camp at Magic?
It's a 2 months boot camp.
Was it full time?
No, it's not full time. It's one week when it's 2 or 3 days. So I spent a couple of hours.
2 or 3 days per week.
Yeah, it's a part-time.
Oh, so it was a part-time course. So it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I also graduated from a boot camp in Magic in programming, and I thought that Magic was a really good platform for anybody who wants to get into the tech scene, into the digital scene, learning about programming, digital marketing. Yeah, because, in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur, I realized that there are a lot of companies that are extremely weak in their digital side of things, none of them are digitally transformed, and they're really, really old school. So it's very, very comforting to hear that there are, regular Malaysians out there that are just, going and improving themselves, trying to bring change to people, right? And companies. So how did you get I'm very curious, you started off your digital marketing service, you started providing digital marketing services 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? How did you get your first client?
Okay, that's a very good question, because I think whenever you started something from scratch, you had no portfolio, no background, no client services, no social proof. So I think the first step always is the hardest. So because I was so new to the scene, I was so new to the world of digital marketing. So what I did is I wrote a couple of ebooks, outline all the strategies and steps that businesses can use to implement right away. And then I published on SlideShare. SlideShare is a slide sharing site. I wrote about how do you implement optimization, how do you what are the tools and resources that you can apply right now in your site to improve SEOs and also like site speed. And then I use that content to reach out to potential clients, and then ask them, okay, I just wrote something about how can improve your site. So maybe you can have a look. If you need help, maybe we can talk more about it. So that's how I closed clients initially, because I had no blog at the time, because I just set up a new site, no social proof whatsoever. So I used that content authority, content strategy to reach out to clients. So that's one of my strategy that I used initially.
Right. So I think that's very powerful. So what you do is you produce content, educational and authoritative content to establish your foothold in the space, right? And basically you give out for free first before asking for anything in return.
Yes.
So that's actually the essential gist of content marketing. You produce content that people read, and if it's great content, people will see you as like, wow, like she knows her shit, so that and they're more likely to engage you as an agency or for any help like that. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So then how has that changed towards the in the middle or at the end of the 2.5 years as a digital marketer?
Okay.
Has that improved? Has that whole process changed?
Oh yeah, I guess the right question is how do you create your funnel to reach out to like clients and leads, right? I use a couple of strategies like Facebook ads, writing ebooks, and then you advertise as Facebook ads. I don't really use like Google search network, but Facebook ads, and then posting organically in groups, like engage, and also like one-on-one reach out to like potential clients that you want to work with. And then content marketing, I think is still a powerful thing.
Yeah.
I did that back then for like a digital marketing business, and now like my own like more like a tech and industry niche. I also do that, like creating contents and then sharing what you know, so that people know that you know what you're talking about.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Okay, so like after graduating, like did you ever thought of like joining or working at a full-time job, or have you always been like freelancing? Can you share a little bit more about that?
Definitely. I remember that after I graduated from like a university college, I submitted my resume, went through attending some interviews, so that like short period of time like waiting for responses, that's like waiting time. So I thought I was losing money. Why not just do something about it? Right? Use this time to like find something, sell your skills, what I can do about it. So I went through this Google and then searched this thing called how to start an online business. It's very typical, right? How everything got started, how to start an online business. Then it returns a lot of results that I did not really understand, like affiliate marketing, SEO. I was so confused at that time. Then I know that I couldn't learn this on my own. Then I discovered Magic. It has this bootcamp for me. So I went to a bootcamp. I really learned how to execute these things in a stepwise manner. Yeah.
Did any of the employers that you submitted your resume to get back to you with a job offer? Not really.
Not really. And then after that, I got some path into this digital marketing thing. Then I just started, then set up my site and start doing the self-starting career. So I guess how it transitioned for me is that I was waiting something, and then it's always been in my nature to create something, because I used to like produce music. I always love creating, and that drives me to look for a career that allows me to have this outlets of creating your own thing. I guess that's how it transitioned myself into this.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think if you would have joined like a full-time job, like at a traditional corporate environment, you wouldn't have a lot of opportunity to create.
Yeah.
I really think so, because I've been there, and there's just a lot of red tape, a lot of approvals to get just to create one small thing. So I'm very, very happy for you that you're on this path, because you get to do what you like, which is to create, right? So how do you convince clients, because you don't have prior working experience, right? Before you started freelancing, do you attribute it directly to the content that you've given out to them in the beginning?
Okay, I guess it's I attribute to two things. One is the way you approach your clients. You can use content marketing, and then the other way is how do you establish that kind of communication. I would say it's like communication funnels. How do you get into understanding their needs, and then you create a way to like, can I, meet you in person to discuss further, because that's your touch point to like having an opportunity to close a client. So it's like a sales process. It's like a sales process on establishing the kind of connections, communications, that in the end you have the step of like closing. So I wouldn't say it's like convincing, but it's more like a funnel thing that you can do.
You sound like a very pro sales expert. You know, but how do you pick up this knowledge? Because I don't think digital marketing boot camps in Malaysia actually teach that kind of stuff.
Oh, you mean the sales communications?
Yeah.
I guess I would like to thank my past experience, because the first job I took was in sales. So I work in sales at supermarket, selling products, all the FMCG products. So I faced a lot of rejections. I faced a lot of, I had to like convince people how to buy my stuff. So those days when I was in university, I picked up the sales job, really helped me to, pick up all these communication skills. So I understand when you have objection, what do I need to say? And how do I handle, a lot of questions? Are you questioning, or what's your thinking about, that kind of negotiations that we have? So yeah, I guess that's framed my, my ways of doing.
I think sales is an extremely valuable skill, because as human beings, whenever we communicate or talk to people, we're actually selling something. You might not selling a product. You might not be selling a product, but if you're fundraising, you're pitching your company and yourself as the founder. Sometimes when you are even on this podcast, right, you're also sort of pitching yourself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. So I think sales is one of the most important skills to pick up. And how old were you when you started working those jobs, those supermarket sales jobs?
Like 18, 19, because those days like in college, we were always looking for like extra pocket money. So what I could do is pick up sales on the weekends and start talking to people. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you also mentioned that you're transitioning away from that digital marketing career per se to a more tech community building and product builder sort of thing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like what made you make this change? Like what pushed you towards this?
That's very interesting, because I think over the past 2.5 years of studying my own career, doing digital marketing services, I felt like I am helping other people to do stuff and not creating my own stuff. Again, it also drives like the need, the drive to create. So I always thought I wanted to jump into the tech industry to build your own products or startup. But how did I transition into that? Because I did not I didn't feel happy with my digital marketing career, even though it's the thing that I started. I wanted to jump into tech, but I faced this gap where if I give up on a digital marketing path, where I've been building my audience, my authority, I have to start from scratch in the tech career. So that jump for me, it was very scary for me at first, because I thought like people always think that the jump only happens when you are like have a full-time job, then jump to entrepreneurship. But this jump also scary for me, so I hold myself back for quite some time, not willing to jump to things that I like.
Right.
Yeah. So, but I made a decision anyway. So I started with picked up coding, and then on my own, my main stack is I use Python, and then I use Django web app framework to build app. And I built app, I launched it, and then it got some traction, like 5K visits in 20 days. And then I think I hit like 34,000, usage metrics, URL being submitted to the app. So that was my first taste of building something people want to use. And then I also started to build my audience on Twitter, because those audience I built for digital marketing would already. So I had to start from scratch. Like literally no skills, no portfolio. Really start from scratch was very, very scary. So in a short few months, I managed to do what I wanted to do like right now, which is like in tech, doing product and community building for tech startups. So that requires a lot of preparation, building everything from scratch again. Yeah.
I see. So how did that feel, getting one of your products? I mean, was that one of your first products that you've listed on Product Hunt?
Yeah, that was my first product that built with code. I launched a previous one without code. It's like a resources directory for EDMs. Yeah, so this is like a second product. Initially, it was like a prototype that I wanted to launch, because I help clients to like turn an idea into startup in like 24 hours. So it worked for my clients, so why not I build something for myself? And then I prototyped the app, which is the AI-related summarize app turn any article into 5 key sentences, so you don't have to read like a full article. So I built like 24 hours, I launched it, and then it was the first taste of launching something to the world. People use it. It was quite overwhelming. Yeah.
Right. How do you feel happy from the response?
I felt shocked actually.
You felt shocked.
Yeah, for sure.
Like how? Tell me more about it.
Yeah, it did not happen like as I planned because I did not do a lot of pre-launch. I did not have an email list. I did not use all the audience building. My Twitter was already just started. A short few months. What can you do with building a huge audience, right? I did not use any paid ads. So I launched on Twitter. I launched on Product Hunt, and then it got #1 with 1,200 upvotes, and then like 5K traffic in 20 days. It was a very shock for me. I did not expect because it wasn't planned. Like I did not use any growth hack strategy. I just launched a button. That's all.
Wow.
Yeah.
That means people really like your product. How does that feel as a product creator? Like other than shocking.
Okay. Other than like feeling shocked, I guess it's important to look at the metrics that you are getting. For me, it opens the door for me to get into tech industry because from no portfolio, now you have something. People know that you can actually do product design, you can do like product communication, you can actually know how to build audience and community. So that for me is like it opens the door of opportunity for me to continue on this path. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Interesting. So so how long have you been into this? How long has it been since you made this transition to the tech side of things?
Yeah, I started in like February or March in 2019, so it's like a short few months of.
So it's only
Start
been
from
what,
scratch.
5-6 months?
Yeah.
How has your audience grown? How's that whole thing coming along? Because you mentioned that you're working for a startup in terms of community building, right? Can you elaborate a little bit more about that?
Okay, so yeah, I guess community building is a very valuable thing for any tech startup because eventually you want to advocate your products, spread the word of mouth. So I think community building ties to how it increase your LTV, lifetime customer value. So that's what I believe in. So I set out to offer this kind of services to startup. So it involves a lot of communication with like a community, the tech community. You need to frame your contents that resonate with the community. It's like what you're doing right now. Like we are doing like a founders or like a self-starter stories or journey, and then you're building a community for your audience as well because your audience is like they wanted to start something but they didn't know how to start. So always frame your content to resonate with your target audience. So that's what community building is about as well. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So what kind of work do you do, like for? I mean, community building sounds a little bit vague to me.
Yeah,
so like like what kind of stuff do you actually do on a day-to-day basis?
Okay, I guess it's first you discover what kind of potential user base that could be for your startup. Okay, that's one. And then you need to reach out to them, need to talk to them, interviews, creating contents. That's what I think what we're doing right now currently. But in the sense that community building involves communication in a deeper level, like you need some interactions. You create that kind of interaction and then hopefully you can increase the people advocate about your startup products. So that's the day-to-day activities. I know it sounds a bit like marketing, but it's not like digital marketing. But it sounds like branding, but it's not branding. I guess it's a real thing. It's just that in the end, it ties to the metric where you can measure like a LTV or like a people awareness about product awareness of startup.
Right.
Something in between, right?
What kind of tools or maybe platforms that you use to host like the community?
Okay, online community is easy. Like you can use Facebook group, you can use a Meetup group, you can use Slack channels. So a lot of ways for you to build it.
Or maybe even Discord channel.
Yeah, Discord channel for the tech community or like a Telegram, right? So there are a lot of ways of doing it. But the interaction process is where you want to invent some campaigns for them to get involved. So that requires a bit of planning, deploy strategy, things like that. So I think it's a very valuable thing for like startup. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So interesting. Are you happier with what you're doing now as compared to the digital marketing time? Because you mentioned that you weren't very happy doing the providing digital marketing services. How do you feel now?
But definitely happy.
Definitely happy.
Yeah, that's what you expected.
Right. So your clients, are they based in Malaysia?
No, it's remote, so everyone's like different countries. And I feel that being able to work in this tech is that in the tech industry is like people hiring remotely, they're working distributedly, so you can access to a different culture, different talents compared to like working locally. That's a certain limit, right? In the end, to who you can access. So that's like a remotely. I think if you want to deal with remote like collaboration or like working, you need to know a few things because okay, first is your communications. How do you make sure that everyone's on the same page because you don't get to meet like each other like a face to face, and then that's one. And then how could you organize expectation, things like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So the challenges are like in terms of communications. Yeah.
Right. You also previously mentioned that you use Twitter to communicate with and build your presence, right? Why Twitter?
Okay, why Twitter, not Facebook? Right? I'm totally off Facebook. I'm not using Facebook anymore. Not active. Okay, because Twitter have this like tech community. They're always active there. So you need to know your target audience, whether they're on Facebook more or they're on Twitter. So I find that tech community they're more active on Twitter, and also easier to reach out to like people who are building things, like starting things, a self-starter, right? Yeah. So Twitter is a fantastic channel for me. At least it's where I'm focusing on. Yeah.
So the people that you connect with, are they like from the US primarily or like all over the world?
Right now the audience, I had a look at the analytics. So most of them come from US, and then not many from Malaysia, not many from Singapore. So US, then India, then UK, then only like Singapore, then only Malaysia. And Malaysia definitely not on the top 10. Like, yeah.
I see. So how do you discover this opportunity to work for a tech startup remotely?
Or how do you get the leads back?
How do you get this?
Okay, I guess it's we are interacting in the community of like a Twitter, because with Twitter you know people who are building stuff, and then when they're building stuff they're on product hunt. When they're on product hunt they're usually launching stuff. Then it's like a community there, so you sort of know where to find them, where to interact with them, where to start those kind of conversations. Yeah, it's very different from what I used to do, like a digital marketing. You always use Facebook to discover like local clients.
Right.
Yeah.
So let me recap. Like first, know what you want to do. Like in your case, the tech community building or product building, and then know where these people are and immerse yourself in those channels.
Yeah.
Right, and that's how you get good and make connections in a certain industry. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So I think that's super actionable. Okay, a little bit more of a fun question. So you're a DJ and you also produce music. How do you juggle your time, and what's that whole thing about? How do you get into that space?
Okay, I guess that's a hobby more than like a career. I'm not active in that as compared to previously. So how I got started in music, making music or like EDM is because when I was in college, I was always obsessed about EDM. So I looked for the tutorials on how to produce music. Then I started with FL Studio. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it.
Fruity Loops.
Fruity Loops, yeah. And
the one that Deadmau5 uses.
Yeah. You can make beats, you can make your all your tracks. And then I shift to like Ableton Live, and then I start producing like trance music, hard style, and post on SoundCloud. Again, it's like build your own audience, your community, build your fans along the way, and then also like produce mixtape like a DJ mix, and then publish on like Mixcloud. So those are the days I was immersed myself in like a music production.
I see. Is performing at a huge stage part of your aspirations? Is that part of what you want to do?
Yeah, those days when you're like so young, like 18, 17, like you always thought something like you want to become a superstar. Yeah, beyond the stage and things like that. So that was my aspiration. And then I thought there's a difference between like an interestedness versus the thing that you're persistently thinking that you want to do. So interestedness is good, but maybe it would not become things that you persistently want to do. Yeah, so that's like different. But I still love music. I still listen to it. So sometimes I still like find some ideas to make some really super fun track. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I know you're not so much into the digital marketing space right now. You're more into the tech community building part. But in your opinion, what marketing channels will be good for your own product? Because I mean, you still retain that digital marketing knowledge,
Yeah,
right?
still doing it.
Yeah. So what do you think works in 2019?
Okay, I think content marketing in terms of videos will work better because there's a lot of distractions nowadays. Like post a piece of images, you might not get a lot of attractions, but if you post video, like what we're doing right now, it might get people attention to want to watch more, like engagement. So what I'm currently doing is I still do my content marketing. I post on Medium, I post on cross-post on LinkedIn, Substack. Have you heard of it? It's like a newsletter platform.
Substack? No, I've not.
Substack.
Okay, but I'll go check it out.
Yeah, go check it out. And then it's easy for you to manage your audience. And then also post on, I mentioned LinkedIn. And then post on my own website as well. Yeah, so building contents and distribute across the channels is one of it. And then continue to build real connections on Twitter. I don't see building followers as important. I think building real connections online is important as building in-person connections.
Right, so don't chase vanity metrics like likes, followers, kind of stuff. What you want is real human connection and engagement.
Yeah, like a real thing.
Right, okay. So what do you think about, you mentioned that you post on Medium, right? So what kind of content do you produce? Most likely written, I'm assuming.
Okay, yeah. I have a team in terms of like writing content. So I write about toolkits and resources on how to build and launch stuff. So I write about tips on how to launch product hunt. So it's like documenting my journey and then a list of tools and steps that you can implement. So it's more like resources rather than like a writing kind of expression of writing. Yeah.
Okay, what about videos? Like what kind of videos?
This is my recent experiment. I blog about coding, how to build because like programming, there's a lot of things that you can always talk about. How do you use this programming languages to build app and then talk. It's just my recent experiment. I wish I can do more, like getting more active and putting more like a video contents out there. So I think blog is one of it that I want to try, and also like screencasting.
Screencasting?
Like sharing your screen and then
doing guides and stuff.
Yeah, that could be an idea as well. Yeah, it's always about thinking about ways to like engage with the audience, sharing this stuff. Yeah. Cool.
So really cool interview. Like I'm really interested in what if someone wants to be a freelance self-starter like you. What kind of advice would you give to people who are just starting out?
Okay, I guess you really want to have a focus on what you want to do. I guess if I would have the chance to start all over again, I would not want to try to do everything because I remember I positioned myself as a digital marketer, not anything specific. So on my side, I had these services like Facebook ads, landing page creation, copywriting, funnels creation, SEO optimization, WordPress. So it was like very broad. So it's very hard for you to be good at something if you're not particularly specific in something. So if you wanted to start your career as a freelancer or like a self-starter career, I think you need to narrow down what you really think you can do or help other people, rather than like in a general way, like your web developer. It's very general, right? And position yourself into something that you can offer values. Yeah, I know it sounds
and
like
something extremely niche down. So what you're saying, let me recap, is essentially find what you're good at doing and also love doing, and niche down even further, like go down even deeper. Like say if you want to become a digital marketer, that's not enough. You want to be a sales funnel specialist, for example, or SEO specialist. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, even narrow down as in what's your personal value proposition in doing that kind of activities. Yeah.
Like can you elaborate a little bit more about that?
Okay, I think it's like a sales funnel specialist. Okay, why don't you position yourself as someone who can help certain industry do sales funnel creation in this format and get this result? Like you break it down into a very specific value proposition. I don't have a specific answer to this because it's very unique to everyone.
So maybe it could be something like a sales funnel specialist for gym owners, for example.
Yeah.
Right.
That's an interesting one.
like just as an example, right? So it sounds like you're working just remotely right now with international clients. Like, do you mind sharing which countries? Like,
We have like people like always like collaborating. So it's like US right now, and then also in Japan also, and yeah, that's like remotely. But I hope to discover more interesting startup clients to work with, because that's what it excites me in terms of building products. Because I'm also building products, would really like to get involved in like a community in the tech industry. That would be something interesting. Yeah.
right. So, do you foresee yourself, moving to, say, Silicon Valley or Shenzhen? I'm not sure if you're into the Chinese tech space, but Shenzhen is like
China tech scene.
the China tech scene, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you foresee yourself moving to any of these cities, to really immerse yourself even physically? Because in Malaysia, the tech scene is it's very, very
Quite
close
limited.
knitted,
Yeah,
and
very limited.
they don't communicate with each other very much. It's very closed and very internalized, I feel. So like, yeah, is that something that you're looking towards?
Yeah, I think that's definitely on my plan to like always go to where the communities are and where the vibes are. I always love people who build things and who are building things, making something useful for people to use. That's very, I think it's inspiring for me. Yeah, definitely this is part of the plan.
Do you have a timeline for yourself? Like when
Timeline?
you want to move to, I want to be in Silicon Valley or by 2020, for example?
I don't have a specific answer though, because I think that what inspires me, in that particular place is that the people. So more than like the place itself, like the people, the vibes. Yeah. So I don't have a specific timeline. Just go with the flow. It's a good answer.
Right. Just go with the flow and see what opportunities come to you. Just keep doing what you're doing first.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Like what other aspirations do you have? Where do you see yourself in the next
Next year.
5 years?
Next 5 years. Being able to build something that's meaningful to other people and helps improve other people's life. And then within the area that I can provide values, because I have this experience of solving it. So that's one, is building meaningful company, build a great team, build great products. Yeah, that's.
Right. Do you have any idea how many people you would like to impact with your product? Because I find that having these kind of hard numbers will help you plan out your goals better.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's say million is not. It's not a lot.
A million is not a lot, huh?
Million users.
A million users. So far, your AI reading assistant app.
Okay, that's my experiment prototype. So it opens door for me to like continue to build product using that approach, like because your prototype very fast, to test it out, things like that.
Yeah.
So
So how many people have downloaded or have used the products that you've built already?
I don't sign up the users because there's like prototype, so I built it very, very scrappy way. So it's like the one metric I can see is how many people actually, how many articles actually being submitted to the app. So last time I checked like 34,000. So
34,000 articles.
yeah, 34K.
So you've already impacted.
No lah, that was like articles, numbers of articles. Yeah.
Okay, or you've impacted the same person multiple times. So you've
Yeah,
impacted
yeah.
a single human being
Yeah.
34,000 times already. So you're about what, 3.4% there
Percent.
to a million.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
kudos to you. And really, Zoe, I think what you're doing is amazing. There are not many people like that in Malaysia, especially in the tech scene. You're super progressive, and it's super interesting. If I were to do something like that, my family would never understand what the hell am I doing. So how does your whole,
Circle.
yeah, are they supportive of what you do?
Okay, I guess my family members are like a neutral. I know it's like Asian parents, like neutral. They don't really like support you. They don't really like not support you. It's like neutral. So given that environment, you always have to make something work for you. So if you decided to choose this path, like self-starting career, you figure out how to make it work for you, then it should be fine. And then also your friends, probably don't understand you, so you don't need them. Maybe you need to find a new circle to immerse yourself in. So that means if it means that you don't have any friends like physically, then you need to go like online, like build meaningful relationship, and then people that can help you. There's always a way. Yeah.
So I want to pick on one thing that you just mentioned. You said that your friends don't understand you.
Yeah.
I believe I have gone through the same thing.
You're facing the same thing. So you're
Yeah.
starting your own like e-commerce.
Yeah, like people are thinking, what the hell is Jeremy doing? You know?
What is this?
What is this? Like, I don't understand this business. Okay, you know, and you know, being in an environment like that, surrounded by these people, is actually not great for you if you're, you know, if you're intending to challenge yourself.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, so I totally agree with you on that. Yeah. So okay, I think that's the end of this episode. Thank you so much for coming onto the show again, Zoe. And guys, check out Zoe's work. You know, she has a website. I'll be putting it in the show notes down below. And if you're a tech builder or you want to become a product builder or a community builder, definitely connect with Zoe over here, because I believe she has a lot of insights that she can share with you. She's extremely talented, smart, and she's also down to earth and helpful, right? So yeah, like I'll be putting her social media profiles and her websites. Can I share your email? Probably not, right? Connect with her and speak to her, and if you need help with any of these areas, talk to her as well, okay? Okay, so that's the end of this episode. If you like this episode, or if you think you have a friend or family member that can benefit from this episode, definitely share it with them, okay? Help them out, okay? So yeah, that's all, Zoe. Like, say bye.
Bye, and thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks for coming on to the show.